Everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bogz.
We're back again today to talk about the newest episode of Andor, episode 10, titled One Way Out, where we finally get to see a prison break with Cassian and his group leading the charge after they find out that basically a guy who was supposed to be released just got sent to another floor, and then the Imperials were like, oh no, they realize what we've done and just offed everybody to try and cover up their mistake. And we get to see Cassian persuade Kino, played by Andy Serkis, and we also get to see a little bit of stuff with Mon Mothma, and a little bit of stuff with Stellan Skarsgård. And other than that, it was a pretty cut and dry episode, though. What'd you think of this one, Bogz?
Yeah, to be fair, I have definitely enjoyed it more than the last couple. I'd say because it felt very drawn out, the prison stuff. So this one, it did have a lot of positives. I'd say with the prison break, so it was action heavy, with good acting. I felt whether it's Andy Serkis, whether it's Stellan Skarsgård's monologue at the end. Even I did like the tense scene between Mon Mothma's character and the Davo Scullin. Yeah, I thought that was good. And their proposal at the end to kind of pay with a potential arranged marriage, type thing. So yeah, some definitely highlights in this episode, much more than the last couple. Because I felt like, yeah, it was really getting dull in terms of the actual story arcs. But, of course, it's made beautifully. Every planet looks amazing. The costumes are great. I mean, I've said that every episode. And admittedly, I kind of like the score this episode. I liked it the best in the season so far, because I actually feel the score's quite bad for this series, but personally, but it was the most I enjoyed it in this episode. But yes, there was a lot more things to enjoy. It was compared to the last couple, really entertaining. So yeah, I enjoyed it overall.
Yeah, I didn't get to do last week's episode review with you because I was sick. But yeah, I was kind of in the same boat as you. I thought last week's episode was just kind of like a lot of nothing until the last 5-10 minutes.
Right.
I think we spent 4 episodes dealing with the prison stuff. I think there was maybe one too many. I think this was kind of an example of they planned for 12 and had a little bit of lull in the middle, and now we're kind of getting back to things. I thought Andy Serkis acted circles around. I thought the acting was good across the board. I thought Andy Serkis acted circles around everybody in this episode because it's Andy Serkis and he's great like that. I thought I'm with you on the music. I think it's been hit or miss for me. It feels like every episode has a different theme with the music, and there's been not a lot of consistency with it. Sometimes it's very 80s synth, a la Vangelis Blade Runner. Sometimes it's very modern contemporary dubstep. Sometimes it's more traditional Star Wars kind of John Williams score. This one, I thought, like you said, I thought this one worked the best for sure. So yeah, all in all, and we had nothing with Cyril in this episode. He was not in the episode at all, which I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty much fine with, because I thought they were going in one direction with his character and they went completely the opposite direction, and I've not really enjoyed what they've done with him. And I'm kind of, if we don't see him again, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I also say that with Miro too. Although she did get a mention this episode that she's chasing shadows, and Stellan Skarsgård's character was happy that she's doing that, chasing fake characters almost. But yeah, her as well. Like they've drawn out their story arcs. And Cyril as well. I liked Cyril in the first couple of episodes up until episode 3, which was when obviously Cassian escaped, and a couple of and he was the lead in that in terms of the police force. Forgot the name. But since then, I mean, his story arc, like, is he going to eat cereal again? He's going to have right, sit with his mother again? Is he going to try and tell someone to we need to get a Cassian? Okay, how many times are we going to see that? Yeah, they've made him uninteresting. Whether he has a good ending, I'm sure he'll be involved in the story at some point. But yeah, like if he's not brought up again, I'm cool with that. I'm still holding on to hopefully a Palpatine cameo in the last episode or something, but we'll see. I mean, because they have mentioned Palpatine now a few times, and not in this episode, but in the previous ones. And if you're a kind of casual, ish Star Wars fan, I can't imagine you're watching it if you are casual, but you would think, who is this Palpatine? Who is this Emperor of the Empire? So maybe seeing that, who knows, that might be a selling point. Plus, getting up the viewing figures, because from all the analytics and stuff, it is extremely low for a any kind of Disney Plus show. But overall, yeah, I did like this episode. I must say, it was quite tense. With the prison stuff, you didn't know kind of who was going to survive. It was quite fast paced as well. I generally like prison movies, so prison break type stuff. So, whether they had to kind of team up and obtain the weapons, and I liked all that. So yeah, that was fun. And yeah, I have to admit, I did like the Mon Mothma scene, because that had a consequence. That scene, too many scenes we've seen of Mon Mothma trying to just planning and talking about banking, about
Throw a party,
funding. Exactly, we've seen that scene several times now.
Yeah.
This was different. Mon Mothma is a definitely an interesting character, but they've longed out this financial, secret plans to, for the rebellion and stuff. And now it had a consequence. Now it's like this weird threat of a potential arranged marriage, or like a threat of it. I want to introduce my teenage-year-old son, to your daughter. And that adds a different intrigue to it. And also, what I do like is the boots on the ground, different side or version of the tyrannic kind of empire. And with the whole prison scheme, because for me, I believe that they're building, or that the prisoners were building something towards the Death Star, or that way inclined. And obviously at this point, it's completely top secret and nobody knows about it. So for me, they're killing off the prisoners to protect the secret of the Death Star. So, and yeah, seeing how that's done, to almost, nobodies in society, the prisoners, who were just kept and recycled and then killed off. That is definitely intriguing to see that stuff. So yeah, a lot better in terms of the plot points, the character journeys, definitely some action, faster paced. Because like I said, the world is interesting, it looks great, but the story is really slow and dull. But up until this episode, I'm talking in reference to kind of previous 3 and 4, like last 3 episodes. So it definitely stepped up. And yeah, a lot more intriguing than the last few.
Yeah, to your point about whether or not we're going to see Palpatine this season or not. At this point, this is episode 10. We've got 2 left. Yeah. I don't think they're going to. At this point, I think it would have we would have seen him by now. We would have, we've had him mentioned, because yeah, of course he's still out there. But that's also kind of similar to how first 3 Star Wars movies were. Like, we heard him mentioned in the first one. We get a quick hologram call with him in Empire Strikes Back, and then we don't actually see him until Return of the Jedi. So, and it's also, we don't need him. It'd be cool.
Yeah. This is just to confirm, this is like a really low, for him anyway, for like a really low level boots on the ground, on the streets, type stuff. Like problems and issues, and obviously it's a big deal for the rebellion, but for the emperor of the entire galaxy, it is really small scale. I agree. Like, he shouldn't really be involved. But in terms of the Senate stuff, that's what I thought. With maybe having a debate with Mon Mothma, that kind of thing, or enacting a ruling, that would be really cool. You're seeing him, in the Senate, like we did all them years ago. That would be fantastic, personally. But yeah, as it goes on, I'm thinking that's less likely.
Yeah, well, because we know from Rogue One that the Empire doesn't really take the rebellion seriously until Rogue One happens. That's the first time they've really like done something to like yes, we messed with their money a little bit earlier this season of the show, but like Rogue One is that first definitive blow to the Empire. We know that that's the first time the rebellion actually like came together. Right now,
Mhm.
it's just cells. So yeah, the Emperor doesn't care.
No.
You know, and but we also saw that most of the Empire doesn't care. When Mon Mothma in the last episode was saying her piece, and people were just switching off their lights. They're like, don't care. I'm out. They don't
Mhm.
care. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. I'm curious to see now what's next for Cassian, because you know the episode ends with him and one of the other guys running up on a beachhead, somewhere we don't really know where, but um, you know, which I didn't think about that until they escaped. I was like, oh yeah, they're in the water. Where are they gonna go?
Yeah.
Um, and also now we know that Andy Serkis, he can't swim, so kind of curious what happened with him. Maybe he falls in and almost dies. It gets mangled and comes up. It gets turned into Snoke. I don't know. I'm trying to connect the two together there, but it'll be. At this point, I really don't know where they're going to go next, especially because now that we know that they're doing a second season and only a second season to lead up to Rogue One. So we know that this season isn't going to end with Rogue One being the next step. So now it's like, where are we going to go from here?
Yeah, obviously, I do kind of hope Andy Serkis' character survived because, you know, he's a super cool actor. But interested to see where he would go, his character. Would he kind of align himself back with the Empire, if they would, obviously, once they find out about the prison break, or you know, in for like a weird redemption for him in terms of an Imperial one. Yeah, Cassian, obviously he will be more involved with the Empire. Sorry, with the rebels.
Yeah.
But how, from where he is right now, um, who knows? Maybe you can tap into a radio frequency or something and call for help. Who knows? But yeah, as well, I want to shout out Stellan Skarsgård's monologue at the
Yeah.
end. I forgot the character's name who it was with, but I even enjoyed him. You know, in the lift. You know,
It's what's
just
her
with the
name's
earpiece.
assistant, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, we know he was a mole
Mhm.
with the Empire, and he's climbed up the ladder, and him asking what's it cost you, and him just kind of breaking down. He literally gave a thorough, like, really clear and specific, you know, answer slash monologue. You know, saying it cost him love, it cost him, you know, his sanity, his, you know, his level headedness, whatever, and everything basically. And because, you know, he was obviously saying, you know, it's going to cost me potentially being a father, whatever. Compared to him, you know, he was saying I've lost everything. So yeah, great dialogue. I was fully locked in, and yeah, it shows the stakes that he's kind of done, and what he's willing to do, and showing that he's ruthless, you know, when he needs to be, and a leader as well. So these are maybe signs or things that have influenced Cassian going into Rogue One, because obviously we've seen in the first kind of few episodes he's almost laughing at the thought of a rebellion or even joining one, and we're seeing you know, this leader Stellan Skarsgård, and yeah, I think that he has his influence from him, and yeah, we'll see with that. I'm pretty sure they're going to link up again at some point before the end of the season, and you know, I think he will lead towards, um, you know, like almost like a, not an apprentice, but you know, a mentor type figure in terms of how to run a rebellion. Because in the start of Rogue One, when, you know, when Jyn Erso is there in with the rebellion, obviously Mon Mothma's there, and Cassian is right there. He's like one of the leading figures. Um, in that kind of meeting. So we know that he's an established figure at that point in the rebellion. So how does that occur? Obviously, that will a lot. I'm sure that will get answered in season 2. But I think that the sprinklings of that will occur, you know, via Stellan Skarsgård's character in the next few episodes.
Yeah, you know, we see in the beginning of Rogue One when Cassian goes to get information from his informant, and the
Mm,
guy's panicking. And so to make sure the guy can't rat him out, he kills him in cold blood. He kills a panicking, essentially innocent guy who just knew some
right.
information to cover his tracks. The Cassian we're seeing right
Mm,
now
Like that's
would not.
standard, basically.
Yeah, he wouldn't do that kind of thing right now.
Right.
So that, but hearing Stellan Skarsgård's monologue there before he just closed it's so dramatic to just close the elevator on the guy.
Mm.
Loved it. That is such a move that I can totally see his character doing.
Mm.
That this is the kind of thing that Andor is going to learn from this guy. Like this guy is, like you said, this guy is going to shape the kind of rebel Cassian's going to eventually become. I'm kind of
I'm
hoping
more,
we
I'm
get
more on the back of that, Mike. Sorry, I was thinking as the episode was ending, exactly what you said there. Yes, they are shaping Cassian to be what he is, but these are the guys that get their shoes dirty, get their hands dirty for the heroes, the actual heroes in A New Hope. You know, Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, and all them rebels, because these guys are great characters. You know, these guys have done, and will do despicable things and murder and deceit and espionage for these guys to, blow up the Death Star, basically. So this is all the groundwork for them guys. So I got that lineage. I got the kind of respect and dog work basically they're doing on behalf of the who we see later to be the hero. So they are, in their eyes, they are seeing themselves as heroes. But for us, who we know the full story, they are doing the groundwork for the actual heroes. And really, they're quite controversial characters who where there's no right or wrong. There's blurred lines. It's war for them. So yeah, sorry to cut you off, but I definitely thought that through it at the
you're
end.
Speaking on my point, when Jyn Erso recruits everybody at the end of Rogue One, and Cassian says to her, like, I've done things I regret for the sake of this rebellion. I want those things to mean something. We're seeing those things now. We're seeing those things he's had to do, or we're setting up to see those things he's had to do, that he's like, this makes me feel dirty, but it's in the interest of peace. It's for the greater good. So that's the stuff I'm ready to start seeing. I like that we're laying the groundwork for why Cassian ultimately decides to join the rebellion, like not half-assed, like to actually go for it. I kind of want to go ahead and get there, though. And I know we've only got 2 episodes left. There's another season coming, but it's like, okay, cool. But I want to go ahead and see it now. Like I think we've waited long enough in 10 out of 12 episodes. I'm tired of him being half in, half out. I'm ready for him to go ahead and say, like, no, like, screw the Empire. Like, let's do this thing.
Yeah, it's true, because his half in is also a job. Like he was paid to be on that mission to steal the credits for the rebellion, to fund the rebellion. He was paid. It wasn't like it's a paid / trial, but it was a paid job. So yeah, he didn't do it for but it was part survival, part work, and as like a hired gun. So yeah, I agree. We don't actually see or we don't know that the actual reason why he decides to rejoin the rebellion. Yeah, he sees obviously the kind of work of the Empire and what they're doing. So that's a reason enough, to be honest. To obviously what he's been on. But yes, there's not like I'm waiting for like a monologue basically to him to say, we're sick of it, let's do it, whatever, that influential moment, just to inspire others and be a leader, basically. There's going to be a point, you're right. Hopefully it'll be in the last couple of episodes, but yeah, there'll definitely be a moment, which we haven't had yet, of course.
I have a sneaking suspicion that it's probably going to be his adopted mother, because they hinted in the episode today she's not feeling well, her health is failing. She's kind of just like, I'm ready to just, she's ready to go out in a blaze of glory or whatever, or just be done. I have a feeling it's going to be something to do with that. We'll see. I have a couple of ideas of how it might go. I'm not particularly fond of either one of them, but I think ultimately it's going to be something to do with that, because we abandoned ship on the whole him trying to find his sister thing.
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
real quick. We abandoned that real quick in this show. Yeah. So all we've got left is Fiona Shaw's character. So I don't know at this point. We'll see.
Yeah, that is weird. They keep picking up and dropping things like
Yeah.
the Cyril character or like his sister or several story arcs that
Mm.
they just pause for a bit and then they bring back 4 episodes later, or you kind of forget about them or lose interest. Or like Saw Gerrera, for example, he was in 5 minutes of one episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, right. So there's a lot of questions still, which at a point they raise interesting things and they spend a lot of time drawing things out. So it's really a conflicting story. And credit to the people that really like that. I don't personally, but
Yeah.
if you find joy or if you find that tense, that's good for you. But I've said it the last couple of episodes, but off the back of Tales of the Jedi and living like through that emotion whilst watching that,
Yeah.
that's the level. That's what Star Wars can do, And at the minute, I'm not getting that consistently in this show. Getting it here and there, but hopefully, let's have a strong end, and we'll see. Because you're right. I mean, that could actually be a really bad moment where we see, him joining the rebellion or wanting to. It could be really bad. So I'm hoping it's not.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's action filled and exciting and action packed or whatever, intense, but it may very well be not. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Who knows? Who cares about Cassie's sister anymore? He certainly doesn't.
Obviously he doesn't need, because all his mom said was, hey, forget about your sister, and he was just like, all
Yeah.
right, and then he did. So so we'll see. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different ways this can go the last 2 episodes. Overall, I am enjoying the show. I mean, the last couple episodes have been a little lesser for me, but overall 10 episodes in, I can say I do like the show. I think it's extremely well made. At times the writing, I think, has some stumbles, but they know kind of what type of story they're trying to tell, and they're committed to it. But I think when you look at with Tales of the Jedi coming out at the same time as this, they're such completely different shows. Where Tales of the Jedi is fast paced, it's not fast paced, but they're shorter stories focused on the inner workings of the Jedi Order, which is what brings 99% of people into Star Wars. Andor is more of the political thriller type stuff that people didn't really like in the prequels, but it was just written wrong. So it's such different sides of Star Wars we're getting at the exact same time, with a lot to like in both of them, I think. And so I'm enjoying what they're doing so far, but also we know how we say it all the time. We know how a lot of these shows are when it comes to sticking the landing with the ending, and we've got 2 episodes left. So, all right, let's see what you can do.
Yeah, particularly Disney Plus. Like you almost, for me, you can't trust them to stick the landing. But yeah, to be honest, if they just keep this fast-paced, action-filled, dramatic, intense kind of feelings that they have, or levels that they had in this episode, I'm good. Like I'm not expecting, like to get emotional like I do in Tales of the Jedi, but I just want a good fast-paced show. I mean, this is the kind of minimal pace that you know um, that I want from Star Wars. Like it's supposed to be fun, action-filled, that kind of space opera, whatever. Not this kind of dark. I understand people like it and there's a market for it, absolutely. But for me, it's too much of that. It was less fun, exciting, which it was this episode for me. So more of this, strong ending, and hopefully some great moments. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what they do next. They're doing enough to keep me going in for more, which is more than I can say for some other shows I tried to watch this year. So, looking at you, Rings of Power. Anyway, yeah, you and I both
Oh yeah,
said
I
no.
couldn't do it.
So, but anyway, yeah, so we're looking forward to next week. Enjoyed this one, definitely. So hopefully we can continue with the momentum we built up in this one. And we'll be here to talk about it. Let us know down in the comments what you guys thought. If you like this one? Did you not like this one? Did you abandon the show like some people did? Or are you sticking with it? Let us know down below. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys again next time here on Off the Wall. Bye.